Alright, so some breaking news has gone down, and we have found out that Disney is trying to buy 20th Century Fox. And that's kind of crazy because when you think about it, Disney can get literally anything they want. Anything. It's all theirs, Because you don't mess with Disney. Disney makes hit after hit after hit, and they are just financially unbeatable. I don't think I will ever have a point in my life where they're not unbeatable, which is kind of a crazy thing to say. But when you actually think about just how crazy it is, it's pretty crazy. And so what I did was I looked at, for the last 5 years, so starting in 2012, what are the movies that 20th Century Fox has put out? Because we know the reason they're going after this is they're going to want X-Men back. They are going to want the Mutants. They're gonna want the Fantastic Four franchise. They want those superheroes. They want Marvel to be Marvel again. And what do they have besides that? What are we going to lose when we lose Mutants? Which is why I kept that out of all the last 5 years. And what I will say about this is I was actually getting so excited for 20th Century Fox movies. Just Sunday, I was explaining to my parents which ones are owned by 20th Century Fox. Because, of course, Logan was a great departure from the superhero films. And we know that's really not been done. Deadpool's not been done, and I'm not a Deadpool fan just because that's trashy. It's not my kind of humor. I accept that people like it. It's just not for me. New Mutants also looks great, and when I was watching it, we were watching the trailer because we were seeing Thor Ragnarok. My sister goes, "This doesn't look like a Marvel movie." Well, that's because it's not a Marvel movie, and it's very ridiculous to think Marvel would make a movie like New Mutants. Of course, we haven't seen New Mutants. We'll see what happens. What 20th Century Fox is known for is the Home Alone franchises. They're known for Die Hard. They're known for The Sound of Music. They're also known for the James Cameron hits of Titanic and Avatar. But what have they been doing in the 5 years? Because we love X-Men. We don't love X-Men. We love Logan. We love Wolverine. Well, not the Wolverine movie, but, we love Hugh Jackman. Anyway, I digress. Let's go. So, in 2012, and when I pick these movies, it's really, really arbitrary. These are just movies that I recall, because 2012, I was 11 or 12 years old, depending on the time of the year, so these are movies big enough that I have heard of them. And I was going to start this off with Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, because I think this is very clear to what 20th Century Fox is. And 20th Century Fox is either a huge hit or a huge miss. A lot of times they don't really think, you have Abraham Lincoln, let's pair him with a vampire hunter. And I think what's really good about 20th Century Fox is they take these movies that don't totally go together, but sometimes it just doesn't work and you get crap like that. And when you get something like Disney, they would never finance Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. That's just not the Disney brand. The next thing we get is Ice Age Continental Drift. Don't ask me what in the Ice Age franchise that is. I hated those movies when I was a kid. I hate them even more that I still haven't escaped them as a 17-year-old. So that's another thing you gotta deal with. You gotta deal with freaking Ice Age movies. You gotta deal with Diary of a Wimpy Kid 2. I don't know when the first movie came out, and I didn't put the third movie, but the third movie is also owned by 20th Century Fox at least. People merge, people buy movies all the time, so I don't know if the first one is, those movies, those books. I used to actually, in 5th grade, I realized just how lame those books were, and I hated myself for ever liking them, and then we got the movies. We also got Lincoln. On the flip side of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, you have the guy everyone loves. He's about to start a movie, The Phantom Thread. It's Jacques Louis David. Jacques Louis David. Is that his name? My sister loves Lincoln. If you ask Anne about it, she'll go on for a long tangent. Me, I've never seen it. I mean, if it came out nowadays, I probably would see it. But that was a huge thing. Didn't that make him the only actor to get that nomination twice? I don't know. True story, I've never seen one of his movies, and I had never heard of him before he announced retirement, and I was like, who is this guy? And lastly, in the year 2012, we got quite the hit. We got Life of Pi, and I think it's really interesting to look at Life of Pi, because Life of Pi clearly has similarities to the remake of the Jungle Book. And I did not see Life of Pi. It is on my bucket list. You've got to actually, this is on my bucket list. I'm not making this up. I haven't read the book, and 2012 is a little early for me to have seen that movie. The Jungle Book, I almost felt like was a bit of a knockoff of having this one kid with all these jungle creatures. And that's what I think you would get with Disney if it merged, is you wouldn't get The Life of Pi, you would get The Jungle Book, you would get something a little sweeter, a little nicer. Disney's not known to be the hardcore person, and Life of Pi, from what I understand, is a hardcore story. Now we move on to 2013. In 2013 we get The Croods, more crap, and don't even stop the crap there, add Turbo to the list. It's just not, they're not an animation strong suit, so that would be a good thing, is that we could just trust Disney with our animation. It's also the year we get the Wolverine, which I think is important to recognize, as we do get Logan, and Logan moves on. People don't like the Wolverine, and I think if you were to say, would the Disney Wolverine be more like the Wolverine, or would it be more like Logan, I think we're inclined to say it would be more like the Wolverine. I don't think they would go in the direction Logan went. That is just my perspective. So we move on to 2014, and that is, man, The Fault in Our Stars. Let's be real. I'm a 17-year-old girl. 2014, middle schooler. Oh my god, I was one of those girls. We all know the craze that was The Fault in Our Stars, and I don't think I need to dive into that, but you gotta pay attention. The teen demographic is very low nowadays. If you look at the early 2000s, a lot of things were geared towards teens. Now they're not, and one thing I noticed in the upcoming projects of 20th Century Fox, which I'm not delving into, is that The Fault in Our Stars, it is made for not kids, it's made for teens. Teens love this stuff. There's some of the few companies that really are trying to get the teen audience. They're the ones still making these books adaptations, because a lot of times the teen stuff just is awful. And The Fault in Our Stars, for what it was a good movie. We don't have Nicholas Sparks movies. He went bankrupt or whatever and sold his company. We don't get those anymore. And now we get John Green stuff, but we don't anymore. And that's actually a whole nother thing, that I think John Green has dated himself to exactly 2014. I don't think he exists outside of that year with his new book. I was like, ooh, just some years ago. Next we get How to Train Your Dragon 2, and I believe that 20th Century Fox bought DreamWorks at this point. I don't know if this was the first DreamWorks movie they bought. I think that actually might be The Croods from the last list. But How to Train Your Dragon 2 was not a financial success. I was not as into the box office in 2014, but I do recall that there was some other animated movie coming out at the same time that was just a bad movie. I saw them both. That was a bad movie. How to Train Your Dragon 2 was a good movie. Was it the first movie? No. Do I think the first movie is one of the best movies of all time ever made? Does it make my top 10 list of best movies ever made? Yes. Does How to Train Your Dragon 2? No. But How to Train Your Dragon 2, it's just a phenomenal feature. And I think it's very important to acknowledge that this did not hit as hard as it should have. And if it did, maybe we would be looking at something different today. Next we go into 3 movies I haven't seen, but we get Gone Girl. And I actually think Gone Girl, I mean, again, 2014 is a little young for me to care about Gone Girl, but I was actually looking at the trailer, not the trailer, the poster, and I was like, man, this looks really cool, actually. Maybe someday I will watch Gone Girl, because people hate that new one, The Girl on the Train. And people hate The Snowman, because The Snowman was supposed to be the new Gone Girl, and it didn't work or whatever. Those were pretty critically acclaimed movies. And you have to think, would Disney make a Gone Girl? I don't think so, because from what I understand, those are like thriller, edgy movies. And the one thing that Disney is not is edgy. In fact, well, not in fact, I don't know what segue I was going for there. The next movie I want to talk about is The Book of Life, which is interesting because a lot of people are comparing it to Coco because they're both about the Day of the Dead. I've not seen The Book of Life, but I actually did try to see it before seeing Coco. I don't know if that's still going to happen since Coco comes out this month. I will try, though. And I think Coco, or both of them, absolutely beautiful, but they're not in the same style, so I don't know exactly what the Disney version of The Book of Life would be. And lastly, we get Night of the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, which is, of course, the Robin Williams movie. And the thing about that is I think that very much felt like a Disney movie, and I'd never seen those movies, but I really got bedtime stories with Adam Sandler. It was the Night of the Museum franchise. I thought it was yours. I think Adam Sandler's in that franchise. I don't know. People love that franchise. I just never saw it. And I think that's one to look like those movies would be similar, not caring about who distributed that movie. 2015, and that's the year we get Kingsman. I was actually, and I know a lot of teens are with me here, super excited for Kingsman 2, even though we'd never seen the original. However, then there was that whole Trump controversy, and I did not go see Kingsman because I was like, this guy does not need my money. And I also think it's important to look that this was also when The Longest Ride came out. Because remember when I was talking about The Fallen Narcissus, we don't really get rom-coms anymore. But we do get The Longest Ride, which was another flop. But it was a rom-com. And I do think it's important to note that rom-coms don't usually do well. They either hit really well, like La La Land did, or you forget them. And Disney doesn't really have rom-coms. You're supposed to watch the short trailers of Disney movies and assume that that's as much as you're gonna get. Because again, they don't take risks, and I think that's really what I'm looking through all these movies is what are these risks. Because next is Home, and God, did I not like that movie. I had to see it. I did not want to see it. And then, oh my god, I did not want to be there, and it met my expectations of being absolutely awful. Next we get The Martian. I never saw The Martian, also on my bucket list, because that one I really should have seen, but I just was not into space. Do I think Disney could have made The Martian? I don't know, I haven't seen The Martian, but that does seem a bit more like something Disney would make. Next we get a movie that was super underrated and just performed. It did not perform well, it did not perform under, it just kind of met its match. And that's the Peanuts movie, and oh my god, you can see the little Peanuts right there. I love the Peanuts franchise. I also love this movie. I'm not the biggest fan of the Peanuts movies, but I was going to go anyway because, God, do I love Charlie Brown. Anyone could tell you that who knows me. That movie was funny. Like, that was a solid movie anyone could enjoy, and just because it was Snoopy, people were like, oh, this is for little kids, which it was, don't get me wrong, but it was a funny movie, and more people should have seen it. But you know what they should not have seen, which is the next on this list, Alvin and the Chipmunks Road Trip. The only one of those franchises I've seen is the Squeakquel. I am sad I know what all the movies are. You want to know something depressing is that out of female directors, the person who makes this movie is like the top 10 highest selling female director, which is really, really pathetic. Road Trip, like, oh my god. And here's the thing, if Disney was in charge of this franchise, we would not have Road Trip, we would not have Chipwrecked, we would not have the Squeakle. We'd have something a lot more like the comics where they're 2D, and I think that would have been a lot better, but they're just, oh my god, the Alvin and Chipmunk movies. Let's just end it there. Lastly, I want to mention they gave us The Revenant. Would Disney ever give us The Revenant? And that is no. And that isn't even because it's Oscar bait. You know, Disney could make Oscar bait if they wanted to. The Revenant is a brutal story, and Disney does not do brutal. We would lose that kind of stuff. In 2016, do you really think Disney would give us Deadpool? Do you? Because I have to argue no. Deadpool is like the amped up Spider-Man. He is the R-rated Spider-Man. They would just give us Deadpool as Spider-Man. And I don't know if the audiences would like that or not. I mean, it's, like I said, I didn't see Deadpool because it's just not my taste in humor, but I appreciated it for what it was, which was something different. That's what Logan is. That looks like what New Mutants is going to be. And we're going to lose all of that if this company merges. Next, I want to talk about Eddie the Eagle, which I think very much is a Disney-type movie, and it looks super cute. I never got to see it. Next, we go into what my parents say might be the worst movie they ever went to, and it was their date night. I told them not to go, because, like, you look at the trailer, and I was like, oh, why are you going to this? But that's Mike and Dave Need wedding dates. So yeah, Disney would save us from never having to see that. Next, we go into Trolls. Can't stop the feeling! Yeah, no, me and my mom used to groove to that song all the time, still do. Would we get a Trolls? I don't know. And I've actually been thinking about that hard, because Disney does not really do the whole product placement thing. But at the same point, would they give us the Justin Timberlake? Would they make us happy like that? I don't know. It's something to think about. And we get Rules Don't Apply, which was a huge flop. It was another romance movie. And I remember the week it came out, I told my dad we have to go. And lo and behold, we didn't go that week because he didn't want to. Next week, it was gone. Like, that was a flop. And Disney is going to take note of that and not make movies similar to that. And you know what's similar to that movie? La La Land. So would Disney do La La Land? And La La Land is not 20th Century Fox. But I think we do need to think about that. Like, does Disney have the nerve to make those kind of movies when they get bombs like Rules Don't Apply? Do they want to try again? Like, I think it's Lionsgate made La La Land. Yeah. And then 2017, let's look at what happened this exact year before we go into the movie, which of course is Logan. Logan is the big hit. I think it's number 6 highest grossing movie right now in this year. It might be in the top 5, but I don't think it is. Next, and this is all in order, same month, we get The Boss Baby. And would Disney ever give us The Boss Baby? I really don't think so, because Disney does give quality stuff. Now, I'm not saying I love their quality stuff, and I could go into why I don't think Moana is as good as people say it is, but people do love Moana. Do people love The Boss Baby? I really pray they don't. And you know what the next animated movie they made? Like, same year? Captain Underpants? Like, what is this? What is this? What is all this baby garbage? I don't know. And lastly, the last movie I'm going to talk about is War for the Planet of the Apes, another movie I did not see. I've not seen most of these movies on this list. War for the Planet of Apes, I highly doubt Disney would make because it is such a random-ass movie. It is a lot like the first movie on this list, Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter. War for the Planet of the Apes does not make any sense. Like, I think the movie makes sense, but the actual premise of this does not make any sense, and that's another thing that Disney doesn't want to buy. And War for the Planet of the Apes was not a financial success. I think it performed, but it did not perform to expectation. And that is something Disney is always exceeding expectation. Nobody knows the power of Disney quite like them. And they would know not to do War for the Planet of the Apes. And so I guess what I've been trying to get to at this is, do we want these risks? Because you either get crap like The Boss Baby, or you get something really beautiful like The Revenant. And both those examples, I haven't seen the movies, but those were just what showed up on my screen. Because Disney, you're going to get quality stuff. You're not going to get The Boss Baby. But I really doubt at the same point you're going to get something as brutal as The Revenant. So it's just something to consider, and it's why this merge is so fascinating. And, you know, there's just a rundown of what kind of franchises 20th Century Fox owns that would be under the Disney umbrella. It would be Logan would be another Marvel movie. Deadpool would be a Marvel movie. Like, it would be different. It's weird. I don't know.